Hill. Congressman, what did you make of President Trump's speech tonight?
First of all, I thought it was a great theme. It was an aspirational theme. He talked about his hopes for the future, and I thought he hung his whole message around that, and I found it inspirational.
Well, policy, specifically on deregulatory policy. Now, you've been one of the most influential congressmen working with Chairman Jeb Cirilli on repealing parts of Dodd-Frank.
Right.
What did you hear tonight specifically about whether or not there's going to be Dodd-Frank regulatory reform in the first year of this Congress, of this administration?
Well, he started out on his economic policy message talking about right-sized regulation, deregulating, putting a high standard on cost-benefit analysis of regulations, and that's across the board, and that includes financial regulation. So I suspect we'll be able to work together on financial re-regulation in that reform effort.
Now, you've been rumored, sir, to be in line perhaps for Fed Vice Chairman, as well as an Undersecretary Treasury position. Congressman, are they positions that you would accept, and where does that stand in terms of whether or not you would join this administration or the Federal Reserve?
Well, Kevin, I love my job representing the people in Central Arkansas as a congressman. That's my focus, and I love being a member of the House Financial Services Committee, and that's where I'm putting all my focus.
But would you accept if offered?
Probably not.
Really?
I really love my work on Capitol Hill.
Now, I want to talk to you about legislation that you introduced over the past couple of days pertaining to ETFs. This is something that Wall Street has focused on. We heard a very prominent Wall Street tycoon recently allude to it. What would your legislation do? Do you think it has any chance with what we heard tonight from President Trump?
Yeah, well, SEC Commissioner Stein talked about the growth in exchange-traded funds. Warren Buffett talked about it in his annual letter. This is the way where more and more Americans are investing through exchange-traded funds. Our legislation I've introduced with Congressman Foster would make research easier to obtain on exchange-traded funds, and I think that benefits consumers.
And of course, Warren Buffett has been pushing for more access to ETFs. Quickly, in the 30 seconds or so that we have left, Congressman, we heard tonight from President Trump that he would like to have a $1 trillion infrastructure plan. Now, you know the political landscape of the Republican Party.
Right.
Is that really feasible, Congressman?
Well, I think if he plans a $1 trillion infrastructure project, he's got to target it where we really need that work done, and he's got to come up with a methodology to pay for it. And if he does that, I think Congress is open to listening to that idea.
And with tax reform, we also didn't hear from President Trump where he falls in line on the border adjustment tax. That has also divided this Congress.
Right.
Where do you stand on that, Congressman? And when will we hear what his position is on that?
Well, I think his main focus about tax reform was to make America competitive and make taxes more fair and more capable for ordinary Americans to benefit from. He talked about a middle-class tax cut. These are good goals. As far as the border adjustment tax, he's described it as complicated. I think that's how people feel about it in Congress, but I'm studying the issue strong to see what my views are.
Should the border tax derail any chance of tax reform before the August recess?
Well, I think it adds a level of complexity that the Congress has to look at very closely.